Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we're super happy to have you here. And if you've been listening and enjoying for a while, I would be super grateful if you would please take a moment to give us a review on Apple Podcasts. It's one of the best and simplest ways to pay it forward and help others find the show so that they too can tap into the powerful perspectives and positive vibrations we are collectively emanating. The other unique and magical way to share this show is by sending any friends you think would benefit from listening to this podcast our Game with the Universe link at positivehead.com/game. Also listed in the show notes, which will serve them up a quote-unquote random episode when they click it. Just instruct them before clicking the link to close their eyes for a moment and sincerely ask the universe to cue up the episode that contains the insight and perspectives that they most need to hear at this point in their life journey, and then click to listen to whatever episode is synchronistically served up to them. I have heard time and time again from people about the incredible results they received playing the game. So just tell your friends magical results are guaranteed or their karma back. All right, all you positive heads, welcome, welcome. Here we grow again. It is a Monday. It is magical. I'm in the studio. Grateful to be with you all. And today I am going to, I don't know fully what I'll talk about. What do you think I should talk about? I'll tell you what, why don't you send me your telepathic ideas backwards in time, since I will, by the time you hear this, I will have already recorded it. And let's see if I can pick up on them. Let me know if I get it right, y'all. All right, tuning in. Well, I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk. I may actually pull from the Michael Singer Untethered Soul deck again, because I've really enjoyed doing that every now and then for the last few months. Just having that as a prompt of idea from the incredible book Untethered Soul to discuss and explore and riff off of. And so may do that, see where it goes. Just kind of freestyling it today to see what wants to emerge. And, you know, I saw this, a quote that came from a book going all the way back to 1903 called As a Man Thinketh. And, or at least part of this quote came from there. I was looking it up to make sure I referenced the right person, and there's some question about it. And there's been a picture that went around with Morgan Freeman, like he said it, although I don't think he had it, you know, I'm sure he agrees with some of the ideas, but anyway, that's not that important. What is the content, and it's really powerful. I want to share, and it's come into play for sure today for me. This idea of self-control and calmness in the face of, you know, a challenging conversation in my case, right? So here's a quote. Self-control is strength. Calmness is mastery. You have to get to a point where your mood doesn't shift based on the insignificant actions of someone else. Don't allow others to control the direction of your life. Don't allow your emotions to overpower your intelligence. Yeah. So this one is just, man, what a big, big part of my own journey, that those of us who have a lot of, you know, high emotion, a lot of energy, it's so easy to shift out of a calm state into a argumentative, reactive state. And getting, you know, what helps me, I can still get heated myself. I haven't gotten to the point where I'm just, you know, the calmest, coolest, collected person in the room. There are definitely more Zen individuals than me. And, you know, I think that's a part of my makeup is this fieriness. It's learning how to control that energy and use it to, you know, keep people warm and not burn the house down. Right. And so, you know, what I found, for those of you hearing that, I'm sure a lot of people, probably the majority of people, could say, "Oh gosh, I definitely get to the point where my mood shifts based on someone else's actions, letting my emotions kind of take over, right?" And I want you first off to not beat yourself up for it. I mean, today, my emotions, I got more animated, let's say, in a conversation with my brother who, they say, if you think you're enlightened, what was it, Ram Dass said, I think, if you think you're enlightened, go spend a week with your family. Those closest to you are the ones who are going to push these buttons and these issues, bring them to the surface more than anyone else. So, most people listening probably have not attained the Zen mastery where they're unaffected by anything and everyone around them, and especially those close to them. But maybe someone is. I need to bring you on the podcast. But instead of, I think what I want to talk about this whole topic is, instead of beating yourself up for getting maybe heated or overly animated, or maybe even saying something that had you been calmer and had more control over your emotions, you wouldn't have said, is instead giving yourself credit for how far you've come. Like today in my conversation, it was literally like we talked for over an hour and there was some very heated moments. But compared to how we used to engage and how heated and like off the rails it could go into personal attacks and all kinds of ugliness, it was wonderful compared to, former versions of ourselves. And it's probably less attractive than future versions of ourselves. We don't dance to get to a certain place on the dance floor. You don't listen to a song to hear the final note. We are a journey. We are getting better and better and better as we go. Right. And so, what happened in my case today got heated. For my brother, it's really interesting because a lot of times he'll still see through the lens of, who I was 20 years. We've been at this for a long time. We're 2 years apart and very close, and, worked together most of our lives on, entrepreneurial projects and companies. And so, he'll start speaking to me as if, it's me from 20 years ago. And I can see when that's happening, and the amount of triggeredness is so diminished compared to what it once was. So literally, as we're sort of having this back and forth today, I have moments where in that conversation where I'm maybe not the proudest of how I was, but like I said, compared to the past, really, really excellent. And I would just continue course correcting as I'd catch myself up. Oh, I'm being overly emotional. Oh, okay, how can I see it from his perspective? Oh, how can I? And I just would literally in real time adjust and get better and communicate better. And if I slip back, it's such a dance, especially like I said, with someone as close as he is. And that's one of the biggest people designed, in my lifetime to push those buttons and trigger that part of myself. So it's, just improve. I guess my whole point of this is improving as you go is okay. If you start the conversation one way, it's so easy for us on this path of, self growth and becoming our greatest and greatest self to get really disappointed and beat ourselves up for not doing as good as we know we're capable of. And we know that we're capable of in theory. In theory, we have it all figured out. Like, of course, I'll handle it with grace and ease. It's like Mike Tyson says, everyone's got a plan until you get punched in the face. And so, just when you do, great. Whenever you fall off or slip and it's not ideal, just course correct in the moment and be big enough to course correct in the moment. Be big enough to give them the benefit of the doubt. Be big enough to acknowledge that maybe what you said 5 minutes ago wasn't quite right and it was coming through your own emotions. And if you can literally just shift with the tide as it's happening, as you catch yourself, because that's what I find is I slip in and out of level of consciousness and awareness when I get into something that's really intensely heated discussion, right? I have those moments where it's like, well, I just kind of, as he puts it, my brother puts it, I steamroll him. I'll just like talk over him and just like barrage of, times we're talking over who can talk over each other the most, the longest. And that's old patterning, right? And it's old energy and it's not the most effective. And like, using your breath to calm down and say, okay, let's try again, Before we continue on with today's episode, I'd like to take a quick moment to tell you about our sponsor, Talkspace. As a listener of this podcast, you know it's important to prioritize your mental health and wellness because when you work on yourself, you'll start to see and feel positive changes in all areas of your life. When it comes to getting help via therapy, Talkspace makes it super convenient to get mental health care with or without insurance to fit your needs. The long-term effects of therapy can give you the tools to deal with challenges as they arise and lead to a more optimistic outlook on life. And you don't need to wait until something goes wrong in your life to work with a therapist. Of course, Talkspace is also there to help with any specific challenges you might be facing. It's the #1 online therapy platform with thousands of licensed therapists trained in over 40 specialties, including anxiety, depression, relationships, and more. Your therapist can help you set and achieve your goals. And as a listener of this podcast, you'll get $100 off your first month with Talkspace when you go to Talkspace.com and use code POSITIVE. So to match with a licensed therapist today, go to Talkspace.com and use the code POSITIVE to get $100 off of your first month. You know, I'd seen this the other day and saved it. And even when I saved it, I'm like, oh, maybe I'll reference this on Monday. And of course, I instantly had like the intuition, like, oh, I'm probably seeing this for a reason. I'm probably going to be tested on my calmness. And of course, that's, 2 days later, forget all about it until it's time to record the podcast. And I have a note, oh, check this out. You saved this cool statement. And I'm like, oh, of course, and did I fall off the wagon to some degree? Yeah, a little bit. Am I pretty proud of myself? Oh, yeah, I'm real proud of where it landed and where I ended it. And, so I'm a work in progress, and so are you. And I just want to remind you to, every moment is another chance to turn it all around and do a little bit better than you did before. And beating yourself up about what you did or didn't or could have done and didn't do, it serves nobody. It helps nobody. And if you've done something that you're not proud of, be willing to say it and say it to that person. That is a big person. That is, that sort of brings down all walls, right? It brings down everyone's defenses when you're vulnerable and transparent and honest and humble. That's true power. Think of in the past, it was always like, I'm going to take it to my grave being right at all cost. That's not it. Here's actually a quote from that book. That's kind of, it's I think an extension of what from that As a Man Thinketh, James Allen book, 1903. Wow, 120 years ago. I'm going to read this real quick. Just found it. Calmness of mind is one of the beautiful jewels of wisdom. It is a result of long and patient effort and self-control. Amen. Its presence is an indication of ripened experience and of a more than ordinary knowledge of the laws and operations of thought. Yes, humanity surges with uncontrolled passion, is tumultuous with ungoverned grief, is blown about by anxiety and doubt. Only the wise man, only he whose thoughts are controlled and purified, makes the winds and the storms of the soul obey him. Ooh. Tempest-tossed souls, wherever ye may be, under whatsoever conditions ye may live, know this: in the ocean of life, the isles of blessedness are smiling, and the sunny shore of your ideal awaits your coming. Keep your hand firmly upon the helm of thought. In the bark of your soul reclines the commanding master. He does but sleep. Wake him. Self-control is strength. Right thought is mastery. Calmness is power. Say unto your heart, peace, be still. I love this. Self-control is strength. Calmness is power. Whew, that's powerful, right? And every time you've just been a little bit more self-controlled and a little calmer in the storm, you are tapping into more and more power, more of that, blessedness that is referenced here. And that purification, it's saying, is what makes the winds and the storms of your soul obey you. You become more powerful. And it's something I've been thinking about a bit lately is like, how interesting it is, the way the game of life is structured. It's literally like as you level up, you get more power is unlocked, right? It's like, it's a perfectly designed system. Like Source is not giving us the power until to wield and manifest more and to create more and to make bigger ripples until we can be trusted with it, until we can be safe with it. You know, imagine if every thought you had right now instantly manifested. You know, I think there's a point in time in your evolution where that sort of thing, you know, whether in the physical or definitely beyond the physical, where that's a thing, right? And right now it'd be dangerous if you're not ready to wield that kind of power. You know, I think of, what was it? The original Ghostbusters. Some of you, those of you old enough or went back to the 80s, you know, at the very end, they're like, basically what it is they can't, whatever they think about will become manifested. And it's like, don't think anything, don't think everyone, clear your mind. And they're on top of this building. And then all of a sudden here comes a huge marshmallow man, like around, like, you know, the size of like King Kong, through the buildings. And he's like, I was always, one of the guys like, oh, I couldn't help but think of the State Puff Marshmallow Man. I was always, you know, scared of him or something. And then they have to fight this giant marshmallow man that he manifests with his thoughts. That's our destiny if we get too much power too soon. So nobody needs that much marshmallow in their life. And yeah. Calmness is mastery, indeed. So let's see here. A few minutes more, I think, is in order. I feel inspired to still pull a card. So yeah, as I pulled the card out of the deck, in the very back of the box, it says, "Who are you really?" And I think that's what we're talking about here, right? Tapping into that power, your higher self, Source. You know, the expanded version of you is the one. It's the part of you that really wields that level of calmness and authority and power. And so let's see, maybe we'll get, who knows, maybe we'll get synchronistically something similar. Oh, let's see what just popped out. Oh, it's so funny. You know what popped out is the same one that I've done before, because I have a list here of the ones that I did before, and it was the very first one I ever did. Fear is a thing. It's just another object in the universe that you are capable of experiencing. So yeah, I already talked about this, and I love this one. It's just like looking at it, not with all the charge and story around it, just a thing. The universe is a part of the universe. It does. And actually fear serves you a lot of times, right? It stops you from putting your hand on the hot stove, etc. Stop putting all the charge around that emotion, right? Because we really fear more than anything else, but it's because we put so much charge around it. So, okay, I'm gonna pick another one because we had that one. This is funny. This is the last one that I pulled. Okay, I mean, this is a big deck too. The highest state you have ever experienced is simply the result of how open you were. If you don't close, it can be like that all the time. So, you know, like happens so much with like tarot or oracle cards, the same ones will come up. And it's like, I mean, the chances of these two coming up I've only pulled 6 ever. And there's like, I don't know, 52 cards in the deck, and I just got 2 out of the 6 again. So yeah, and what we've been talking about today is how do you step into a higher state? How do you expand into a greater version of yourself, with greater power? And I think that, you know, being open to hearing the other person. That was part of it for me with my brother today. He had a very different opinion, and what I had an opinion was really, he's a pretty sensitive individual, and it was like sort of insulting to him. And so, okay, I can hear that. Let me be open to that. Whereas instead of just my perspective is fair and right and logical and rational, like, okay, how this is affecting you. Okay. You know, I can open more. And so that's a big part of it. So I'm glad that one fell out. Another one fell out too. So let me pull it over. Oh my gosh. Okay, it's the other one that I've already pulled. This is getting weird. The purpose of spiritual evolution is to remove the blockages that cause you fear. Well, now I just pulled 3 out of the 6 that I've already pulled. Like, what is the chances? Like, wow. Okay. Yeah. So fear came up twice here. The purpose of spiritual evolution is to remove the blockages that cause you fear. And you know, when you're angry, it's really, I saw a meme the other day, and it speaks to this whole thing. Anger, it showed someone pulling the mask back, It said anger as a mask, and then it was like fear underneath. So if someone is angry, it's rooted in fear. And what we're talking about is how do you remove those blockages that cause you fear? And obviously this wants to come up again and again. I mean, literally I just pulled 3 cards and they're all already on my list of pulled cards. So, wow, what a trip. What a trip. Okay, well, I'm going to leave it with that. I think the message, if you want to hear me talk about all 3 of these more, go to positivehead.com, search Untethered Soul, and you'll see all the episodes where I pulled in the past and, talk in more detail about each and every one of these cards. But yeah. So I'm going to leave you with the song today. I talked earlier, I was talking to someone about the podcast and what my greatest aim is with it. Came up early today in a discussion about some of the cool things we're going to be doing this year, and someone that's going to be helping with building community and social and all the things that I haven't done as well as I could and intend to do better in the coming year. And my answer was, I want to be a lighthouse. That's it. I want to help people more and more. And then I was looking at, songs to play today, and my good friend Equanimous and Ruby Chase did a song here called Lighthouse. Just pretty new song, along with it's Equanimous, Ruby Chase, and Momentology. So, that's it. Leaving you with Lighthouse today. Hope you enjoy. Thanks for tuning in. Till next time, journey well.